Good morning. Today is Joseph Smith History, verses 41 through 47. And in these verses, Moroni comes, gives his message, leaves, comes back, gives his message, adds a little more, leaves, comes, gives his message, adds a little bit more, and then leaves. And then Joseph says that it's the next day, that their communications lasted the whole night. So before, when I have read this, I'm kind of wondering, okay, we're just going to use the royal we and your. All right, we're just going to use it. So when you're reading it, you're kind of going, why did he come 3 times? Why did he repeat the message 3 times and then add a little bit more? Well, in doing this study, maybe I've come to realize a little bit more that it needed to be repeated because you can't get it the first time. I was thinking about it, and when you hear a really great conference talk, like you're watching conference and you hear a really great talk and it's over and you're like, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. I love Jeffrey, but you didn't write anything down because you were so enraptured by what he was saying and the spirit that was being conveyed by him. And you're like, okay, there was a part and it said something. It would be nice if it just went again, and then he added upon. So I think that may have been the situation, to where, it says, I lay musing on the singularity of the scene and marveling greatly at what had been told to me by this extraordinary messenger, when in the midst of my meditation I suddenly discovered that my room was again beginning to be lighted. So he is laying there, he's going, oh my goodness, what did I just hear? What is he trying to tell me? What is going on? He does it again. He's like, here's what I said. He's trying to sink it in. He's trying to be like, what I'm telling you is important, so listen up. Obviously, we need to hear things about 3 times before we get it. Yeah. It just says that he continues to ponder, he continues to think. Another thing that stood out to me was when so on the 3rd time when Moroni comes, he says, and heard him rehearse or repeat over again to me the same things as before, and added a caution to me, telling me that Satan would try to tempt me, in consequence of the indignant circumstance of my father's family, to get the plates for the purpose of getting rich. This he forbade me, saying that I must have no other object in view in getting the plates but to glorify God, and must not be influenced by any other motive than that of building his kingdom, otherwise I could not get them. Now here, Moroni is saying, listen, the only way you're going to get these plates is if you have the intention, the pure motives of heart to build up the kingdom. If you try to get them to become rich, you're not going to get them. Simple as that. You're not going to get them. If you have any intentions to become rich, that's not what this is. And I find it fascinating that he gives this warning, and then I think it says later on he couldn't get them because he did have in his heart to get rich by them. And then, of course, he had to wait a certain amount of time before he could get them. I think that's what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Joseph Smith was chosen. He was preordained. Even though they knew that this was not a fundamental flaw in him, but a flaw in him. Joseph Smith was not perfect. Joseph Smith was not infallible. He had human weaknesses, and even though he had those weaknesses, he was still chosen. He was still the prophet of the restoration. He was chastised many times. It says many times that he was chastised. And, he wasn't perfect. He had flaws. And I think it gives us hope that if in the beginning Moroni gives him this caution, and then he still has that desire in his heart, he's chastised, he has to wait, but he still gets them. He does change his motive and his heart, obviously, because if he still had those, he couldn't get them. But it just gives a little bit of hope and humanizing to Joseph Smith. Hope that I am a flawed individual, but still I can do great things. And humanizing Joseph Smith to where we as a church have him on a pedestal. It goes Jesus Christ and then it goes Joseph Smith, I think sometimes in the members' minds. And this gives humanizing to him. He had his flaws. He was not perfect. He is not this end-all and be-all of perfection and doing what's right 100% of the time. He's just a human being, and I think is sometimes forgotten. He's revered, but he was also a man. He had his weaknesses, he had his flaws, and so do we. He was a prophet of the Lord. If he can do it, so can we. I think that's the point I'm trying to get to. If he can do it, so can we. So that's what I got. All right. I need to clean off my desk. Talk to you later.